Hey everybody, welcome to this video. I'm Explorer123 and this is going to be my November reading wrap up. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the books that I read in the month of November, tell you a bit about them, tell you if I like them or not, and of course the rating I give them out of 5 on my Goodreads. So yeah, just sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and let me know in the comments section which books you read in the month of November, and like what were your favourite books, your least favourite books, that kind of thing. And also tell me if you've got any books you're excited about, any books that are coming out soon. And yeah, I just love reading your comments. So yeah, get in touch. Okay, so I have my laptop here with all my notes on and stuff. And I also have my glasses, so I'm going to pop them on. Also in this video, after I've done the reading wrap up, I'm going to show and tell some of my current reads and also the book that I'm going to start next. So yeah, hopefully you'll get some ideas for books that you'll want to read yourself. You know, whenever I watch these types of videos, I always get ideas for books that I want to read. So hopefully I can help you to get some books. There we go, my glasses are on. That means business. So let's get started. Okay, so November reading wrap up 2022. So the first book I read in November was The Retreat by Sarah Percy. So this is number 2 in the Detective Ellen Warner series. I absolutely love number 1, which is The Sanatorium. I thought that was so good, such a good thriller, and I had kind of really high hopes for this book. Now I did super enjoy this one, and it was a very good thriller, very kind of atmospheric as well, but it wasn't as good as the first one, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, we're back with Ellen, who is a detective, and in this one she uncovers the truth behind the suspicious deaths on a beautiful island getaway. So basically people go there to refresh, recharge, but there's more revenge tactics going on. So she must find the killer before history repeats itself. And yeah, I really like the main character. I would definitely continue with the series, and as I say, it's not as good for me, not as good as the first one, but it's still really good. So you can read these as standalones, but for me, I'd probably recommend reading it as a series, and then you kind of get to know the backstory of the main character and stuff like that. So yeah, I give it 4 stars on Goodreads, and it was a good start to the month. I needed a good kind of juicy thriller. So yeah. Next book I read was a Christmas read. Now, I was worried, was it too early to read a Christmassy book in November? And I actually went on Twitter and said, is it too early? People were like, no, we've started reading our Christmas books already, if not before November. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So this was The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. It's the first time I've read anything by this author. And oh my God, this book was super adorable. If you like your Christmas books, check this one out. The Christmas Bookshop. The title, I love books about books. The artwork on the cover, gorgeous. Like everything about it is just lovely. So I'll be honest, this book was a little bit silly and a little bit predictable at times. But you know what? It felt super warm, cozy, festive, and yeah, it was good. So basically the main character is called Carmen, who I really liked. I liked all the characters actually in this book pretty much. So she, and even the ones I didn't like, I liked to dislike, if that makes sense. Like a kind of pantomime villain. So yeah, Carmen loses her job. She's struggling for cash. She goes to stay with her, in brackets, perfect sister, who has, once again in brackets, the perfect setup in her life. She's got the husband, the house, they're very rich, she's got like amazing children, like she's got everything that Carmen hasn't. They don't really get on as sisters, but anyway, she goes to stay with her. When she's there, she gets a job working for old Mr. Macready. It is kind of ancient old bookshop, which is kind of not doing very well. So she's kind of brought in to help the bookshop, kind of give it a revamp. And yeah, I love that part of the story actually, where she was kind of, you know, reinventing and revamping the shop. I thought that was lovely. So yeah, there is romance, there's family matters. It's just a really good Christmas read, and it was so funny at times. I really did sit and giggle out loud because it was very funny and lovely. So I give it 4.5 stars out of 5. The only reason I didn't give it a 5, this is really silly, is just because it was a little bit predictable. But overall, like, it was a brilliant book. So 4.5 out of 5 for that one. Now, the next book I listened to on audio book. I have Audible on my phone, and I listen to that when I'm walking, or if I'm doing work, or if I'm doing the housework, or just, you know, whenever in the bath, etc. So I don't know about you. Let me know in the comments section. Is it just me? But for me, it's really important who's kind of doing the voice acting, who's reading out the story. And I don't know. I know it shouldn't be important, but it is. Like, if I find the voice annoying, or I don't connect with the voice, or something about the person's voice, I just can't get into the book. And I know that's really silly, but I'm just being honest. So let me know if you're the same. But this book was called, oh yeah, here we go, Bloody Fool for Love by William Ritter. And this is like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer prequel, and it focuses on fan favourite Spike. Now, back in the day, I used to love watching Buffy. Like, it was so good. I watched it every week. I was obsessed with it. Spike, by far, was one of the best characters for me as well. Just such a character, literally. So yeah, this is the first in a series, and I was really excited for this because, as I say, I loved Buffy back in the day, and the book sounded really good. Had quite good reviews as well, so I was really excited. But I couldn't connect with this narrator. I couldn't connect with his voice, the way he told the story, and the story itself. I was finding myself getting really bored with it. I don't know. I couldn't get into it for some reason, and I just had to DNF it. Now, I might be super shallow for this reason, but it is the reason. Would I have been different if I'd have physically read a copy of it? Maybe it would have been better for me, but on audiobook version, I was just not feeling it at all. So there you go. I don't know. 1 star, which sounds quite harsh, but it is what it is. So the next book was also a book that I wasn't keen on. This is really sad actually, because this had been one of my most anticipated reads. I was so excited for this. I'd pre-ordered it. I was really happy when it turned up, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god. I even pushed it in front of some of the other books I've got on my TBR kind of thing, because I was just so mega excited about it. So it's Cruel Illusions by Margie Fuston. And as I say, I'd really been so hyper about this. And I think that's why I'm so sad about this one not being a good book for me, because I'd kind of built it up in my head that it was going to be brilliant. Like, on paper, it had everything I wanted, but like I just couldn't get into it. So it's about this character. Basically, she sees her mum killed by a vampire, and then she kind of finds this secret society of magicians who say they'll help her get revenge, kill this vampire if she joins their society. But then there's all these like challenges that she has to do to join, like magical things. Like, it sounds really, really cool, and like at the beginning I super was like into it, but then the world building was just not making sense to me. So much going on with magic and vampires, and it didn't really click, and it wasn't connecting for me. I don't know what it was, but I just couldn't get into it, so I did have to DNF it. I mean, I did do a good like over 100 pages. Like, I really wanted it to work, but I was like, no. I always tell when I'm not into a book fully, because instead of like having my reading session, I'll end up picking up my phone, looking at Twitter, looking at Instagram, watching whatever Nathan's watching on TV, even if it's not for me. Like, I just get distracted because my brain isn't into the book. So yeah, unfortunately I did DNF that, and I had to give it 1 star. But yeah, really sad. Next book was Nightcrawling by Layla Motley. So I think this is like a debut author, and I think she was really, really young when she wrote this. So like, props to her, like an amazing achievement at such a young age, right? This started off really good, very hard-hitting, raw, gritty. I know it's been nominated for awards, people have had it in their book club choices. Like, it's a big book, Nightcrawling, and that is kind of the reason why I wanted to check it out, because the hype, was so big around this book. And I don't know, I kind of like pushing myself out of my comfort zone sometimes when it comes to my reading. It's so easy for me to just stick to those same genres that I read all the time. So to read something really different is sometimes I enjoy it. Sometimes it's a good result, other times not so much, but it's that challenge to myself. So it started off really raw, gritty. It's based on true events, loosely based. Obviously, these are made up kind of characters and stuff, but these kind of things did happen. I think it's in the 90s, if I remember rightly. I could be wrong, so I apologise. But it's about this character called Kyara and her brother, and they live in East Oakland. They're scraping by, and they both dropped out of high school. He clings to these kind of dreams of being this superstar rapper, and she basically has to go to work on the streets, if you know what I'm saying, as a prostitute. There were parts of this book that made me feel very uncomfortable. Like, I really did feel very uncomfortable reading certain things in this book about what was happening to her and how she was treated. There's also these really dodgy cops, and she becomes a key witness in a big case involving these said dodgy cops. here's the thing with this book, right? So I wanted to root for her. I wanted everything to be all right for her. I wanted to make sure she was okay because the horrible situation she was put in and the way her life was. But the thing was, I just didn't like her. Like, as a character, I felt for her. I felt sorry for her. But I don't know. I just didn't connect with her. I didn't like her. I didn't like some of the actions that she did. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't like her. So that was for me. Like, let me know as well in the comments if you're the same. But I have to like a character, or at least care about them, or find them interesting, or connect with them on some level. Um, and for this character, like Cara, just didn't connect with at all. So, like, for some like random thing I can remember about her character, her and her friend went to. They had this thing, right, where they'd do it regularly, where they'd go to funerals and they wouldn't know the person whose like funeral it was, but they just kind of sneak in with the crowd and then just start like eating the food there, like at the wake and stuff, and then like stealing clothes or whatever. And I don't know, I just didn't like that. I found it very uncomfortable. So anyway, I give it 2 stars because, you know, it's a young girl author, which is amazing. And as I say, it was good at times. It was raw, it was gritty, and yeah, I don't know. It was a weird one for me. Next book I did like though, so it was on the up, so that was good. Tales at Midnight, and this is Good Enough to Eat by the lovely Gina Blackseal. She's a lovely, lovely author. She follows me and I follow her on Twitter, and she's so sweet, and I really enjoy her writing. I absolutely love this. So this is a retelling, reimagining of Hansel and Gretel. Now, I'm really fussy, right, when it comes to retellings. I've read so many, well, tried to read so many, like over the years, and I normally end up DNFing them because I just compare it to the original fairy tale so much that I'm just like, no, or I guess what's going to kind of happen because it's obvious, because it's, you know, the fairy tale. But this one, I don't know, I just really, really embraced it. I really enjoyed the writing style. I just loved it. There was a lot of like feminism in it, which I love, really strong female characters, and like, I don't know, a few twists. It was also really interesting way of telling the story because like one chapter it was like a flashback to the past, then it was more current, then it was a flashback, then it was the past, and it like, you know, it kind of all come together at the end and it all made sense. But it was just a really interesting story. I loved it and it was just brilliant. So yeah, I really like that retelling, very good, and I gave it 5 stars. The next book I read I'd got from my local library, it's called The Hiding Place by Amanda Mason. I can't even remember why I got this. I think I must just have seen it in either in the library or the library website, checked it out, I don't know. But the way it was wrote, like, you know, to promote it, it was kind of sold as a paranormal thriller, like a spooky thriller. And I love that cup of tea. You know, that is my thing. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I'll get this. But I literally read, like, I think I'd got to like 200 pages or more into the book and nothing physically paranormal or scary had happened. And I remember saying to Nathan, like, come on, it's going to happen soon. Yep. Any chapter now, this, you know, it's going to happen. Something scary is going to happen. It didn't. I'm not going to give any spoilers about this book, by the way, but if you are getting this book as a paranormal thriller, it's not. It is more of a family secrets, family thriller, drama kind of vibe, and not paranormal in the slightest. So it was sold really wrongly, in my opinion. So it's about this main character called Nell and her husband and their 12-year-old stepdaughter, who I could not stand. I couldn't stand her character. I found her really super irritating. Anyway, so they rent this holiday home, little cottage by the sea. It's a small town where Nell was actually originally from. So she kind of knows some secrets and things about the place. But I don't know, there was some weird stuff happened. Stuff was found in the attic and a shoe was found and like, I don't know, scratch marks. And I don't know. It just wasn't scary and it wasn't what I was after, so I give it 1 star. And I didn't like any of the characters at all, just didn't like them. So next up, I read 3 books in a row. This was a trilogy. Now, I haven't read a good series for ages. I tend to go with standalone books, but I felt like reading a series. I was in the library one day and I just saw this series and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it. All 3 books were there in this trilogy. Whereas normally with some at the library, if it's a series, you know, number 1 and 2 will be in, but 3 won't. Or number 4 will be in, but 5 won't. So they were all there. And they're by Laura Sebastian, who I love her books so much. She's such an amazing author. And I love Castles in Their Bones, which is definitely going to be one of my top 10 books of the year. I don't know what position it's going to be, but it's going to be high up of my top 10 of this year, so look out for that. I will be filming a top 10 books of my year, or maybe a top 20, I'm not sure yet, but anyway, but yeah, she's brilliant. And this is Ash Princess Trilogy. Now, these books were quite chunky. They were paperbacks, but they were well over like 400 pages, near enough 500 really. And that's why I didn't get us through as many books as I normally would this month. Like, normally I read quite quickly. I'm quite a quick reader and I get through a lot, but I think because these were so chunky and I was so involved in them, I didn't want to rush them. Do you know, I just wanted to kind of devour them and get into them. But yeah, so I literally read the 3 in the row, and it was great. And I want to do more of that next year. Instead of just reading standalones, I want to read series. I want to read like trilogies or duologies and stuff, because yeah, I've kind of enjoyed being in the world and being with the characters a little bit longer, if that makes sense. So obviously I'm not going to tell you about number 2 and 3 because it will give spoilers, but I'll tell you a little bit about the series and you know, number 1. So in the trilogy, we've got Ash Princess, Lady Smoke and Ember Queen, and as I say, they are by Laura Sebastian. My notes I've put, wow, I devoured and adored this series. It was so good. That's true. So the world building was great, the characters, the drama, the excitement, lots and lots of twists. Like, I love twists in books, you know, when you think something's going to happen and you're like, what? You know, or things you don't expect to happen, they happen. So really good twist. I love all the magic element of it as well. There was romance. It was just amazing. Honestly, I will praise it because it was such a good trilogy. YA fantasy. So this is about a character called Theodosia, which I hope I pronounced properly, Theodosia. So she saw her mum, who was a queen, murdered right in front of her. She was like 6 years old, so it was horrific. And she's kind of had that horrible memory in her mind all these years later. And after she was killed, this horrible person called the Kaiser and his kind of crew kidnapped her and kind of held her captive for like 10 years. And then events happen, which I won't give spoilers away, where she finds out that kind of like people in the palace where she is being captive are kind of on her side, and they're like, you know, we're going to help you. And they want her basically to get her throne back that was like meant for her, like to reclaim her throne and take over the land again, get rid of all the baddies and that kind of thing. But over the 3 books, like, so much happens. There's so much adventure. There's so much drama, so much going on, but it all makes sense. Like, it all flows really, really nicely. Absolutely brilliant. I give each book 5 stars. So really, really good. All right, next up, I read, I'll be honest, it's probably meant for like younger people, a lot younger, but kids. There we go. I've said it. It's meant for kids. But it's the Repair Shop series, and it's the Christmas Doll. So I just remember going on the library website, looking at new books section, which I always do, and it come up with this picture, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. I love dolls and stuff. Like, I'm a big kid, and I've seen the Repair Shop TV show a few times. I'm not like an avid viewer or anything, but yeah, basically there's this show here in the UK called The Repair Shop, and you know, people take their old kind of heirlooms and, like, I don't know, old teddy bears or old clocks or what have you that they really feel connected with, and there's a story behind them, and you know, they're broken or whatever, and these people at this repair shop on the show fix it, and you know, it's a very kind of heartwarming show. And this one is about a doll. So this story, as I say, the Christmas Doll, this is a story of a doll who's given to this young girl during the war. She's an evacuee, and this doll stays with her like her whole life and stuff. And it's only like a really short little book, but it was so touching and so sweet, and also quite sad, obviously, thinking of what people used to go through and the evacuees, and yeah, but also lovely at the end, and the doll, and it's repaired anyway. But I just loved it. I thought it was so sweet. Really lovely artwork as well, like super, super beautiful artwork. Of course, it was touching. It was sweet. I gave it 5 stars, so good on you. And yeah, you know what? I know it's meant for kids, but I think adults would quite enjoy it as well. It's cute. All right, the next book. Oh, okay. So this is another one of those books that I've been super hyped about. I got this on my Audible account. So I get 1 book a month, like 1 credit a month that I can use, and I also get the books that are free on the Plus catalogue on Audible, which I love. I've really, you know, enjoying the free ones as well as the ones I pay for. This one I'd got with my credits. So I had officially paid for this one. This wasn't free. So it's called 8 Nights of Flirting by Hannah Reynolds. Now, I absolutely loved her last book, which was called The Summer of Lost Letters. That was so good. It was so touching. It was brilliant. So I had like hope that this would be, just as good, if not better. What I love about this book was there was Jewish rep, lots of Jewish characters, lots of Jewish references. It's a Hanukkah story. Like, I am Jewish myself, and I find you get to this time of year, right, and everywhere is Christmas books. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love a good Christmas book, okay? I'm just saying, I have Christmas decor behind me as well. But, like, sometimes as a Jewish person, you would like a little Hanukkah book, and there just aren't that many, as in fictional Hanukkah stories. So I was really happy about getting this. I started to listen to it on Audible, and the first few chapters I was like, oh, this is nice, this is sweet, I like the character. And then once again, I know it's awful, I'm terrible. I found the narrator's voice so irritating. I don't know what it was. She was talking super, super fast, which I know is ironic because I talk fast, all right, before you say that. I know. But I don't know. And I tried to like slow it, 'cause on Audible you can adjust the setting of the speech, and it still sounded like she was talking really fast. I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I just found her voice quite grating and quite annoying. But I thought I'd carry on with it because I really wanted to get a Hanukkah story. But yeah, so this is about a girl called Shira, and she doesn't have any dating experience whatsoever. And then she gets some advice and tips from Tyler, who she used to have a big crush on when she was a kid, and he wasn't interested. And then yeah, there's kind of like enemies to lovers kind of vibe, and he's giving her tips on how to get with this guy Isaac that she likes, but obviously something happens with him. I mean, it's so predictable, this kind of thing, but I don't know, it was so cheesy, it was so predictable. I loved, as I say, the Jewish rep. I loved the mention of Hanukkah and all the traditional things, and it was nice, but it wasn't enough to hold me. I wasn't gripped enough with the actual story. So I did kind of just skip to the end and just listen to the last few chapters just to find out what happens. Yeah, which is sad, I suppose. But anyway, I give it 2 stars. And the last book I read of the month was Tomorrow. Hold on. Got to get this right, otherwise I say too many tomorrows. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I think there's 3 tomorrows. Okay, so this is by Gabrielle Zevin. This has been one of those books that everyone's like, oh my God, you've got to read it. Or I'll go on social media and there'll be just pictures of it. You have to read this book. You have to read. Or people have told me, like, Laura, check out this book. It's amazing. You'll love it. And I suppose I just kind of give in to that hype of it. And yeah, I got it. So I managed to get a signed copy from Waterstones, which is now on eBay, obviously. But I don't know. I really wanted to like it. I read quite a good whack of this book. Like, I was really into it, even though it's something different for me. I thought, no, I'm really enjoying it at the beginning. So it's about these characters, and once again, Jewish characters, yay. I know I keep going on about it, but for me, there's just not, to me anyway, my books that I read kind of thing, there's just not that many like Jewish characters in fictional books. I mean, you get the old stereotypical ones, but sometimes you just want something different. But I love the fact they had Jewish rep in this book. The author is half Jewish herself as well. I think her dad was Jewish, or is Jewish. So I love supporting that. But like, these 2 kids meet when they're in hospital. I can't even remember their names. I'm so sorry. It was a girl and a boy, and they meet when they're really young in hospital, and they become friends through their love of gaming and stuff, and they like start writing little coded messages to each other. Like, it's super cute at the beginning, and then when they're adults, they see each other at a train station, they reconnect. And for me, I thought it was going to be like a romance, so I was like, oh, this is so cute. But then I discovered it wasn't really a romance, it was more about friendship, which is fine. You can have love in friendship as well, which is cool, but I don't know, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I knew this book was going to have a big gaming theme, but I don't know, when the book started to go from storytelling of the 2 characters to heavy gaming stuff, like they would talk about coding and the science and the gaming and the mathematics, and I was lost. I'll be honest, I'm not a gamer. I'm a bookworm. My other half's a gamer. I'm not. The only thing I like to play is Mario Kart. All right, that's how much of a gamer I am, and I'm not even very good at that. So it just kind of went over my head a little bit. But I tried to persevere with it because I did like the characters and I did kind of want to know where it went, but it was just too much gaming stuff. Gaming. Yeah, no interest after that, so I had to DNF it, which is really sad. But I just got lost with it. I got a bit bored with it, and yeah, I just thought, well, I've got too many other books that I could be reading, so yeah, I DNF'd it and gave it 2 stars. So I mean, it was a real mix this month for me. Some of the books I just didn't like at all, DNF'd, and other books like, you know, the trilogy and stuff, like I really enjoyed. So yeah, it was a weird month. But what have I learned about this month? Well, first of all, as I say, I've got back into my trilogy series kind of vibe books instead of just standalone, so that's good, and I want to do more of that. And yeah, I also learned that I'm very fussy when it comes to people on audio books. If I don't like their voice, they're just, yeah. The current audiobook I'm listening to is, I can't remember what it's called. Call Me Maybe. It's called Call Me Maybe. It's one of the free ones off the Plus catalogue. It's a kind of comedy romance kind of thing, and it is so good. And there's 2 voice actors doing the characters' voices, and it just feels so real. Their voices are great. Like, I've connected with them. So I'm not always horrible to people who do, like, you know, the voices of audiobooks. These 2 are great. But I honestly do think it matters to me about the voice I'm listening to. So anyhow, so I've learned that. So what is my book of the month? Just looking at my notes here. I really like the what's it called? Good Enough to Eat, Gina Blackseal. I thought that was brilliant, and I did give it a 5. But I cannot not choose the Ash Princess series by Laura Sebastian. It's hard because normally I only have 1 book of the month, but to me they come as a package. So I'm just going to say the Ash. I mean, if I have to choose one of the 3, it would be the first one, because that really hooked me into wanting to read the rest. So yeah, Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian, book of the month. So yeah, if you're into your YA fantasy, check it out. Okie dokie. Let me know in the comments, as I say, what books you read in November, what books you liked. If you are a fellow kind of booktubery kind of person and you've done a video on your books that you've read, I'd love to see your video. So leave the link down below and I'll definitely come and check your video out. So now I'm going to quickly just show you some of my current reads and the book I'm going to start next, which I'm very excited about. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you this one here. This is the brand new book from Veronica Roth, and it's called Poster Girl. I love this cover. It's really cool. So I shouldn't really be telling you my results of the review for Goodreads, because it won't be till next month's reading wrap up. But what the hell, I'll be a rebel. I give this book 5 stars. It was brilliant. I loved it. I mean, I'll be honest, there was a bit in the middle where I was starting to get, not bored, but it was kind of dragging a little bit. But then, boy, oh boy, it picked up. There was some twists thrown in. It got more dramatic. And yeah, I ended up being like, yeah, love it. So yeah, I love Veronica Roth. I love the Divergent series, both the books and the film. So I was really super excited. There was a bit of confusion because I was told this was like number 2 in a series, but it's not. It's not in a series at all. It's an adult sci-fi fantasy kind of vibe, and it is a standalone book. Okay, so yeah, it's called Poster Girl, and it says on the back, a fallen regime, a missing child, and a chance at freedom. So very dystopian kind of vibes. And you know, I don't want to go into it too much because obviously you'll have to wait till next month, but if you're into that kind of thing, your dystopian books, check it out. It's really good. So yeah, literally just finished reading that yesterday, and then I'm nearly finished this one. I think I've got like 2 stories left, so I'll show you this one. This is I'll Be Home for Christmas. Love the red sprayed edges. I love sprayed edges on books. So this is a collection of brand new stories and poetry from the UK's leading YA authors with the theme of home. So every author on here has wrote a story in their own kind of vibe, you know, their own style, and it's got the subject of home. And that can be many different types of ways of saying it. And you know, I've read, as I say, a lot of these. I've only got a few left, but I don't know what it is. Whenever there's a collection of short stories, right, let me know if you're the same. I find that some I really love, and some I just can't be doing. Like, I'm just not interested in. And once again, this has happened with this book. I mean, I've read some really good ones. I like the Juno Dawson one was good. The Non Pratt one was good. The Holly Bourne was quite good, yeah. Lisa Williamson. But there were others that I was just like, oh. You know, so a real kind of mixed bag. But yeah, I really like this book to a degree, some of them. But yeah, that is that. And last but by no means least, let me show you the book that I'm just about to start. Now, a lot of you have probably seen this because this is one of the books that are just, you know, so hyped up. They're everywhere. I think, what is it, Book Talk recommendations and, you know, Bookstagram and Booktube and everything else. So it is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. Now, I absolutely love this cover. And I got this on eBay. It was so hard to get this blooming cover. There is another cover version here in the UK. And that was the one I could have got from like Waterstones or whatever. But I really wanted this cover, and I'm a little brat, and I wanted to get what I wanted. So I went on eBay. I did pay a couple of pound extra, but I just really love this cover. And if I like the book, obviously I'll keep it. If I'm not really feeling it or whatever, or I know I'm not going to read it again, I'll pop it on eBay. But if I do keep it, oh, this is such a cute cover. Look at that. It's awesome. So I don't really know loads about it, but as I say, it's just been like really praised so much. Also, my lovely friend Kate over at Mini Book Chats. Hey, if you're watching, go and check her out. She's amazing. I think she started to read it and said it was good, and loads of people have said about it. So it says on the front, it's sweet, beautiful, most of all, kind. I hugely recommend this book. She's an orc, I think. Yeah, it says after a lifetime of bounties and bloodshed, Viv is hanging up her sword for the last time. So I think she goes to work. Hold on, the battle-weary one. Oh no, sorry, the battle-weary orc aims to start fresh, opening the first ever coffee shop in the city of Thune. Rivals old and new stand in the way of success, not to mention the fact that no one has the faintest idea what coffee actually is. That does sound funny. If Viv wants to put the blade behind her and make her plans a reality, she won't be able to do it alone. So, true rewards, the uncharted path are the travellers you meet along the way, and whether drawn together by ancient magic, a flaky pastry, or a freshly brewed cup, they may become partners, family, and something deeper than she ever could have dreamed of. So I think it sounds really good. What does this say here? Hold on. A big-hearted story about the small things in life and a lovingly written ode to the genre. A must-read for every D&D player. Nathan used to do Dungeons & Dragons. Who has ever wondered what happened after Happily Ever After. I never played D&D. I know it's come back with Falls. I think probably because I was Stranger Things and stuff. But like, I used to watch a show, and I do love reading fantasy. Oh my, sorry. But yeah, anyway, I think this will be quite a sweet read. I hope it lives up to the hype. Okay, so thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please give a big thumbs up, leave a comment, share this video out on your community tab, social media, that kind of thing. It really helps the channel. Kind of gets it out there a little bit to people. And subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget also to check out my other channel, Minxlaura123 ASMR. The link's down below. On that channel, I do videos to help people relax, chill, sleep, get tingles. So yeah, go and check that out. Also, come follow me. Come follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Goodreads. All these links that I'm saying about are down below in the description box. I'd love to chat with you, and, you know, especially if you're a fellow bookworm like me, we can talk about books, or maybe you can become like a buddy read person with me. We can read a book together. So yeah, just get in touch. All right, everyone, take care of yourselves. Happy reading, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.